leadership that we have here in the city of Philadelphia. We know that Trump is courting the Latino vote heavily in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He did win Pennsylvania last time by one percentage vote, by 45,000 votes. And we do have in Pennsylvania currently 550,000 Puerto Ricans that do vote and are legal here to vote in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And those are efforts are on the way for Trump and the Trump administration and campaign to shore up those votes or to peel off a portion of that vote because he did win 25 to 26% of the vote last time in 2016, and he was able to win with a lot of support of Latinos. And they're trying to do the same thing now in this election. And so they're trying to crack that from 26 to 28%. I don't see that happening given the rhetoric, given the things that have happened, the way he has led this country. There's been a lot of a pushback against Trump. So he might have the support. I'm going to say he does have support of the Latinos, I would say, in Pennsylvania and in Florida and in New York and in New Mexico, in states where you have heavily Latino population. The question is he going to be able to crack that 25, 26% the way he did in 2016? And that's up in the air. That is questionable. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the same support, especially in Florida. And I'll tell you why. There's been a diaspora from Puerto Rico into Florida. And now you have 2 million Puerto Ricans living in Florida who are heavily in support of the Democratic ticket. Biden and Kamala Harris. So there is a different dynamic in play here, but let's see. I'm putting my bets on the Democratic Party and the Democratic ticket, and I don't see Trump having the same support that he had in 2016 when it comes to the Latino vote.
Well, and I'm going to say this. He did have that number. I personally think it's going to be a larger number this time. Because I think, in my opinion, that a lot of people are getting tired of the rhetoric coming from both sides. So it's if you're going to pick the worst of two evils, I mean, come on, let's leave Biden in the basement.
Well, here's the thing, and Pastor, you're going to chime in here in a minute, but I'll say this before Pastor chimes in. It will be a slap in the face, especially to the Puerto Rican community, where Trump has outright disrespected us and our community. Just take as an example when he went to Puerto Rico. That in itself, what he did when he went through the, remember during the Hurricane Maria, that it was a disaster in Puerto Rico. FEMA was a disaster in Puerto Rico, where he went and he kind of did a photo op, and he was literally throwing towel papers across the room to Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico. That's an outright disrespect to us, to our community, the way we were treated and the way we were disrespected. And today, still Puerto Rico continues to be in flux of being rebuilt. And so, just take that as an example, whether or not we should give our vote to Donald Trump in November.
It's amazing. It's amazing that Leslie won't tell you that the former governor of Puerto Rico and many other officials in Puerto Rico turned out to be exactly what Donald Trump, the President of the United States, stated they were. That they were fraudulent criminals and had been using the articles that the U.S. government sent to Puerto Rico. And so when you speak about the rhetoric being disorderly and disproportionately going in a racist camp towards the Puerto Ricans, I would defer to those individuals that understand that Donald Trump has been working for a long time with people in the construction business. He knows a fraud when he sees one, and it's very easy to find one in the Democrat Party, especially those who happen to be urging race wars, like the mayor Muriel Bowser in Washington, D.C., or Mayor de Blasio, who's upset because the president wants to audit his books in terms of what he's been spending his money on.
Well,
so, and one other thing I want to say, Leslie, real quick. It's amazing how you all use feeling statistics, but you don't use real statistics. The last time I checked, Donald Trump won all 10 of the battleground states that he was told Hillary Clinton had already won. And in fact, the internal polls that we're finding out from the Trump administration, I'm just going to give you the inside note, from the Trump administration shows that he's not 1 point down. In fact, he's about 4 or 5 points up, depending on what battle line state you're in, including Pennsylvania. And so the whole idea is that the Democrats want to constantly use this, people don't feel this way about Donald Trump. It's not a matter of feeling. It's a matter of the evidence that they've seen Donald Trump do in 3 years that Obama and Biden had 8 years to do and never did.
Well, and also to point out is that, with the situation of Obama and Biden being in office for so long and never adequately dealing with the crisis in Puerto Rico. Because before any hurricanes, the earthquake and all that happened, they had an inadequate infrastructure there. The electrical grid is a joke in Puerto Rico. That's why it constantly was burning out. Under Obama administration, there was a huge fire. The whole grid burnt out. He did not do anything whatsoever to address that issue in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, let me just say this. Look, Puerto Rico is not perfect. I mean, Puerto Rico has been sapped by corruption by the politicians that have been in office, and I can definitely say this to you, Ken. It's abysmal. What's going on? What has happened in the island of Puerto Rico, where you have had corrupt politicians, win these offices, and instead of helping the people and help Puerto Rico improve, they have put Puerto Rico in a black hole, and I give you that. But
I hope that you would concur that there are over 250 urban centers, including Philadelphia, in which Democrats have had a stronghold for over 50 years.
Well, listen.
And have gotten the same results as they got in Puerto Rico or any other place that they've ever taken a control master over.
Well, let me
the
say.
bottom line is that you are filled with a great deal of promises that you don't keep.
Okay.
Donald Trump is the president who actually made promises and did keep them.
Hey, Ken, let me just say this. I agree with you that here in Philadelphia, the Democratic Party has been in control for 50-some years. You're right. And we still have poverty levels excessively high. We still have dilapidated communities. Unemployment is high. When it comes to black, hold on, let me finish.
Let's let her speak. Let's let her speak. Let's be fair, guys. It's not attack.
Okay, I do agree in that sense, but here's the thing. There's no way. And I've been very critical of the Democratic Party as a Democrat myself, of what I've seen here in the city of Philadelphia. It's shameful. I agree with you, but we have to look at, what has Trump given us in the last 4 years. This country has been more divided than ever before, where there's this racial divide that we have, pitting people against each other, has come directly from a man who should be leading this, who is the leader of the free world. And we cannot continue to operate under that rhetoric. Too much killings in this street. We have too much going on in different communities. Philadelphia, look what's happening in Portland. Look what's happening in Wisconsin. Look what's happening all over this world, where there's been protests all over this world because of racial divide.
Okay, yeah, but
and Trump has been a culprit in promoting that.
Let me get in here a minute. Hold it. Everybody, hold up a minute. Hold up 1 minute. And I want to comment about Portland and about Chicago and New York and all the other places. Yeah, these are Democratic-run cities. Yeah, they're going through a lot of changes. Yeah, there's a lot of people killing a lot of people in there because crime has gone up. But remember that these are also places that were offered help to cut back on the rhetoric, and they refused and did not want to take any help. So when you're putting the blame, you got to go back to who was in charge as the mayor and the governor and who was saying, no, we don't want help while they're burning the cities down.
Well,
Can I say this very quickly? Phil, forgive me. Let me just say this very quickly. It's amazing that Democrats have no problem relenting to the fact that they failed in 50 years, but they blame Donald Trump for not correcting them in 3 years what they've done in 50. It's kind of hard to recreate urban centers in 3 years. But I tell you what, Leslie, give him 4 more years, and I think we got something going. We can do something here.
We can't lead a country with this type of rhetoric and divide. We can't do that.
I don't-
A leader
I
has
don't
to. A
see
leader
Donald-
has to
I don't
heal.
see-
A leader has to heal and bring people together.
And yes.
And no, he
It's
has
kinda
not.
hard
No,
to
he
do
has
that.
not.
Wait, so you
The-
have
the- and-
Democrats. You have Democrats in office who are supporting the bloodshed in these streets. You have Brandon Boyle here in Philadelphia who praised the killings and these lootings and these burnings of buildings.
I don't see Congressman Brendan Boyle doing such a thing. I don't see that happen. But let me.
He literally recently put out statements supporting the rioting. He said he was so proud of these
I don't think he
actions
supports
inside his city.
The protest
and
is
his
fine. The rioting is not. One thing is to protest, and another thing is to riot and loot and do things that are destructive.
K&A was being burnt down. He came out publicly saying he was so proud of his city and his communities for what they're doing.
Well, I can't speak for Brendan Boyle, Congressman
Yeah,
Brendan
not
Boyle,
fair.
but
He
he's
ain't
not
here
here.
to
But I
defend
can
himself.
tell you, I don't foresee.
That's a fact that's right there on record.
All I can tell you is that I don't
But
think
he's not
going
here to defend himself.
Right.
So
But what I'm
take
saying
it
is
back.
that no,
Let's go with what we're going with.
Democrats who are out there who are making these statements, Nancy Pelosi and others, they're supporting these types of actions on our streets.
I don't believe that. I believe they've been very, very precise and consistent in their rhetoric. We do support. We do support.
Leslie,
Hold on,
come
really?
on,
Is that why Miss
Leslie.
Pelosi
Hold
went
on.
to the
Come on.
hairdresser,
I'm trying to
no
be
mask
neutral
on,
here.
having herself
Let
a
me
fun
finish.
time out there?
Let me finish.
But tell everybody else.
Let me finish.
Oh,
I
President
think,
doesn't
on,
support that.
Leslie.
I think Biden, Pelosi, and the Democratic Party, they've been very consistent in what they're saying.
No, they're
we do
not.
not support. We support the protests. We don't support
The
the
only
looting.
reason
we don't
that
support
happened,
the
Leslie,
destruction.
the only reason they're supporting it now, and remember, you had Maxine Waters stand in front of a Walmart and say, if you see them, push them out. Don't get in their face. Make sure that this is Maxine Waters.
We're not talking
doing
about
it.
Maxine. We're talking
but
about
I'm
Biden,
talking about
who's running
the
for president.
Democratic Party, because you're putting everybody in there, and you're saying the Democratic Republican Party. You had her say that stopped them. You had the only reason it switched. And when you look at when they started going against the rioting and denouncing it, was when they realized that the polls were switching. Then you had Biden and everybody come out. But prior to the entire the Democratic event, none of them spoke about the riots. None of them said it's not good. None of them said, and it's in their cities.
Look. We have
Let's be fair.
We have deep-rooted issues in our cities.
Mm-hmm.
We have issues, and these issues are not Republican issues and Democratic
Nope.
issues. These are issues
Yeah,
that
they
need
are.
to be. Well, hold on. These are issues that need to be dealt with, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. They have to be addressed, but they cannot be addressed using racial divide. That's not the way to solve issues and to solve big problems that we have, because the problems that we do have in Black and brown communities and Latino communities are big.
Yeah.
And we have to have a leader that can address those
everybody.
issues.
Yes.
We're going to get ready to go into a commercial break. But what Leslie's saying is one of the things that I say all the time, is that both parties, to me, both parties have been playing games to the point that they're responsible for what's happening now in these cities. The parties are responsible because they used the poor, they used the people hurting, they played with their education, they played with their finances, and this racial divide did not start when Trump came into office.
No, he just enhanced it. That's all.
I kind of think Obama
He
enhanced
enhanced
more than
it.
Okay, maybe he turned on the sprinkler higher, but it's been out there.
Well,
We're gonna go into a commercial break, and then we're gonna come back, and we're all gonna be lovey, and keep discussing this. And remember, guys, gentlemen, Leslie is only one person. If we're gonna make it a fair fight, we gotta have enough Democrats and Republicans in the same room. You can't go after Leslie hard, and let's all make sure that we tell her we love her because
I like
she
it
has an
hardball.
opinion.
I like playing hardball.
Talk to you guys in a few minutes.
I'm from Washington, D.C. Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, they're getting ready to go on the water this weekend. They're expecting 100 ships on the quad. So oh no, I don't know offhand who those particular parties are. All I know is that we are very, very excited about the potential of the numbers right now. And when we come
Don't
back,
wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
And I'm hoping that you're enjoying this as much as I am. And again, we got Pastor Phillip, we got Leslie Acosta, and we got Ken McClinton calling in from Washington with their opinions about what's going on here. Remember, everybody, and I want to keep saying this, Usula Media does not back any political position. This is a conversation we're having here. So nobody wants to come in and say that we're playing favorites in any way. Okay? Now, we're back. Ken, you had something you wanted to say?
yeah. Well, first I want to speak to the fact that the Democrats, Marxists, and they're not the JFK Democrats of my parents' era. They're not the ones who believe in lower taxes and equal rights and to find a way for all parties to succeed. No, they really are crony capitalists. They are Marxists, and they are doing things to destroy the families, to destroy the civilization. And when you speak about the whole idea of Democrats, peaceful protest, it's amazing that it's peaceful even when there's looting and rioting going on. And CNN has a problem actually defining the difference between the two. But you know, our lying eyes don't. And so there are two statistics I want to tell you. The Hispanic bump after the Republican National Convention was an additional 3%. Now, a lot of people say, well, Will, that's only 3%. But that was 3% on top of the already 30% of Hispanics who are interested in voting for Donald Trump this year. Why? The number one reason is immigration. They know the difference between illegal migration and immigration. And here's a second statistic. 34% of black Americans are considering voting for Donald Trump this year round. And the major group of that happens to be black men, because black men do not want to be erased from civilization or the black family because of Black Lives Matter. We know the difference, and our lying eyes don't deceive us.
Okay.
Now, let me just say this. If you're not Native American, we all are immigrants in this country.
So I'm the only good one
We're
here.
not.
I'm the only
Okay,
American
so
here,
we're going to talk about this issue of immigration.
I am so sick of people saying that we are a nation of immigrants.
We are.
When we raised our right hand and put it on the Bible for those who came into this country, we swore off everything else but the United States. We are a
I'm
nation
talking
of
facts and
citizens.
history.
We
If you're
are
not
a
Native, you
nation
are an
of
immigrant.
Citizens. We are a nation of citizens who are being lied to by the Democrats in terms of what the difference is between illegal migration, someone jumping the fence in front of somebody who's been waiting 15 years to pass on to their citizenship.
Okay,
So,
well, we all know that immigration is a big issue. And I want to remind everybody that the issue of immigration did not start this presidential election. Every presidential election, as far as I can remember, had an issue with immigration, and none of them dealt with it.
Yeah, I think immigration
Okay.
is also will
Very
be part,
serious.
and part about this
Yes.
and part of this conversation going forward, and even is going to be a debate in regards to this issue. Immigration or migration, whatever you want to call it, it is an issue that has been neglected by both sides of either the Republican and Democrats, and Trump has taken this issue head on. I don't know if he's made the way he's taken up this issue. I don't know if it's been the appropriate way, if you will, but he has taken this issue head on. And so that that in itself, you know, look, we have right now detention centers, one here in Pennsylvania and one in Texas, only two, where we're detaining children and mothers into the detention centers, placing these kids and these parents into these detention illegally. You cannot hold a person that is an immigrant more than 20 days in these detention centers. And you have mothers, like the mothers from Berks, who have been sitting in these detention centers for more than a year and a half in violation of their rights under the Constitution. So if we want to go there's arguments on both sides of the aisle here, Ken, and what's unfair, and what's wrong is wrong. But we have
It's
to.
amazing that Democrats cared about the cages that were built by Obama to detain
Yeah,
those
but we can't keep
individuals.
blaming
but Donald
Obama.
Trump takes the presidency.
Obama's not in
It's
office
amazing.
anymore.
It's amazing that Democrats cared about illegal immigration when it was important to register people to vote. It's amazing that those individuals don't care when there are blacks and Hispanics that are unable to get high-paid jobs because illegal immigrants to places like China and other places around the world have taken their spot. We
Okay.
need
Yeah, well,
we
that's
need
gonna
an immigration
that's gonna
process,
that
not
that's
illegal
gonna
migration.
we haven't let Pastor Phil chime in yet, so let's see, because I think he's saying a prayer before he gets to speak.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
But
I'm always
Leslie,
praying
I
for
gotta
guys,
tell
but
you, I'm proud of you. You're holding your ground here, good girl.
I just, given that part of my outreach ministry in my community within the Logan County area is a very diverse community. It's also a high transient community, if you're not aware. But so we have part of the outreach ministry is dealing with immigration, and I trust me, I deal with this on a regular basis. I hear the same cries from many family members about their family being held in these places. But like Mr. Kim pointed out, these places weren't built up. The system wasn't, the policies weren't put in place during Trump administration. It was done before him. So this is something that he inherited. Mm-hmm. On top of that, you also have to understand, we have way more immigrants than these facilities were initially designed to handle in them. And we don't have an actual place to place them. Some of these places were overflowing, and we used up the beds that were supposed to be for citizens who are homeless or displaced in the city here in Philadelphia. We've opened up those places, and they're still overflowing. So it's not going to be a straightforward answer. I commend President Trump for actually attacking this and trying to really trying to deal with it. But it's not going to be an easy solution. It's not going to be an easy answer for anybody, no matter whether it's Democrat or Republican in office. It's going to take a long time before we figure out a solution for that.
But it's going to continue to be an issue.
Definitely.
Until somebody, and along with the president and Congress and the Senate, get their act together and do what they're supposed to do and stop playing politics with people.
It's not a presidential issue. It is a national issue. And it's an issue that has to be tackled in the proper way. Putting this on President Trump is not completely fair. One problem is here in the city and other places where you have amnesty and you have these weird situations where people are violating the law and they're not adequately being dealt with. It really has to be a across the board type approach where we have to come together on the table and really discuss this state by state, because every state has a different way of approaching it.
Yeah.
And we have these places here in Pennsylvania, here in Philadelphia, but guess what? President Trump has very little input on that.
Well, he's had a lot of input in that when it comes to sanctuary cities, that Philadelphia is a sanctuary city.
Right, and
we have about
Philadelphia fought back.
Okay, well, no, he even threatened to cut funding for sanctuary. We are a sanctuary city.
Why did he get to the point of threatening them? The sanctuary cities fought back against the president on his regulations. Mm-hmm. Sanctuary city said, we're still going to do whatever we want.
My point is that he has attacked every institution here that is in favor of anything that addresses immigration. He has threatened to cut funding.
Attack is not the right word.
He has.
What he did was he says, these are the new regulations, these are the new policies, and they said we don't want them.
Yeah, well,
okay,
I'm just telling you what he has done.
Also, my issue with this immigration sanctuary city, because people are scared. I mean, sanctuary has been around since the church has been around.
Yeah. Since the 80s.
No, not the 80s.
Yeah,
since the church been around.
Sanctuary.
The church era.
No, sanctuary cities. cities.
Has
itself.
Cities,
Yeah,
cities.
cities.
I'm sorry, sanctuary's been around.
Oh, no, that,
Since
No,
the
no,
church
that's
has been
different.
around, okay? But here's my thing. Sanctuary is an issue that we have to all look at seriously. That's one thing. The other thing is we cannot use sanctuary to hide criminal activity.
wait a minute.
Yes.
That's the two different arguments here that we're going in. If you're hiding and evading people that are doing that are committing crimes, that's a different issue.
That's a difference, but
No,
that's
we're not
part of
saying,
what's
we're not
going
saying,
on.
No, I don't know about that, and then that's questionable. But sanctuary cities have been around since the 80s. Since
Yeah.
1983, it's been around, and it was originally constructed, or people came. They started these sanctuary cities. Remember, during the influx of the Nicaraguenses coming to the United States, and people that were coming for political reasons, for
Colombiano.
a lot of people that were coming because of political reasons. There were political rioting in their countries, and there were so that was the purpose of these sanctuary cities. And and Trump began to attack these sanctuary cities. Now, what you're talking about, crime or hiding and evading people that are committing crimes who are immigrants and hiding them in these places, that's a different argument, and that should be prosecuted to the full extent of the
So
law.
what are you calling the tax? What are you calling that President Trump was doing as a direct attack on the idea and what's
Listen,
going on as a
you-
sanctuary
you-
city?
Listen, in these sanctuary cities, you have immigrant people, families that they use these places for support, and resources. And where are they going to go?
Leslie,
Where are they
so
gonna go?
Leslie,
Okay, but-
so Leslie,
so
what
wait,
type
so
of people?
You
are
have
we-
to find a way. We
Leslie,
have to
what
find a
type
means
of
to
people
help
we
these
talking
people.
about? What
Okay.
type of people we talking about? Let's clarify it for everybody, because I'm a
We're not-
I'm a Christian. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not gonna see anybody suffering, and when it comes to immigration, I have a problem, because if somebody was brought here as a child, I'm not sending them back,
Well,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's another argument with the dreamers.
Well, the whole thing is that I'm back to my statement. Immigration has been an issue in this country for a long time, and that can's been kicked down the road. Obama administration, Trump has got his issues that everybody has. Obama had his issues, and remember, Obama put a lot of people out of this country, a lot of families out of this country. Obama was the one that started separating the families as bad as they did. Okay, but you go past Obama, the Bush administration had issues. You go beyond that, the Clintons had issues.
Yeah, but we
They
can't talk about
used
the
them.
past.
Yeah, but you can't blame a guy
We're
for
not
3
blaming.
years.
We're not blaming.
For 3 years for what happened in the last 20.
David, we're not blaming. We're not blaming. We're talking facts of what he has done in less than 3
Okay,
years
so-
when it comes to this immigration
Okay, so
issue.
what you haven't listed or given me an actual attack that he did against the
Okay,
sanctuary cities.
well, I'm gonna tell you now. This list can go on and on and on and on and on. Okay, because what I want to do is there's something that Ken touched on, and in our last segment we need to bring up, and I want everybody's opinion on it, is the job situation and the terror situation and the idea of dealing with other countries, because there was a real serious problem here that everybody's ignoring. We had so much of our medicines and so much of our supplies like masks and ventilators all made overseas. We didn't make antibiotics here. When we come back, we're going to talk about that.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it.
Thank you, Ms. Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
All right, welcome back, everyone, and you're on an hour with Dave on UCLA Media, and again, we're having a heated conversation about what's happening politically in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, and across the country. But remember, we're having a discussion. UCLA Media does not take political sides. Remember that. And we're here with Pastor Phil, Leslie Acosta, Kenny McClinton, and I want to come on to something you were talking about, Kenny, which is jobs. One of the things that I'm concerned with, Leslie and Pastor Phil, is that we know the Biden history of dealing with outside government. It's a fact. Mm-hmm. Now the man is standing up talking about made in America. And he's talking about making things here and bringing back jobs here. But he wasn't. He wasn't part of. So now, if he's going to do that, and his past history for 47 years, he did everything but support American-made and jobs staying here, and was part of all our jobs going overseas. So where do we are with that? How about if we start with you, Phil? We're not going to do ladies first, and then we'll go into Kenny, and then we'll let Leslie hit both of you's back. Go ahead.
I'm not sure where to start with that topic because that's a lot right there. That's really broad.
Do you want to give your spot up and then Ken come?
I'm gonna because Kenny mentioned something before we came on air. He said no one tagged him in. So guess what, Kenny? I'm tagging you in. Jump in the ring here.
Go ahead, Kenny. What's your opinion over there in Washington? Do you really believe that Biden is gonna push for American-made products and keeping jobs here when he has 47 years in the government, and within that 47 years, we wound up not even making an antibiotic here in this country. We didn't have no masks being made here, no medical shields being made here, and thank God that we were able to bring people in and start producing some of the stuff here. Do you believe that Biden is going to bring them jobs back?
No, and it goes back to the policies. It's always the policies and never the rhetoric, because people would make you feel that Obama was the greatest creator of jobs. He was the greatest creator of part-time jobs with the individual mandate under Obamacare. So most people lost their full-time jobs and had to find two jobs to take that place. Donald Trump got rid of the individual mandate and has become the creator of full-time employment, so that you can spend more time with your family, that you can only work one job and not have to worry about making ends meet. No, Joe Biden is not about creating jobs, because in order to create jobs, one, you have to lower taxes. Joe Biden has already stated that he's not going to only raise taxes on the wealthy, he's going to raise taxes on the poor. In addition to that, you need to get rid of government regulation. Barack Obama and Joe Biden were the masters of creating regulation, except for when they traveled to in the Ukraine and demanded that regulations regarding the hiring and the firing of an attorney general were under their rule with $1.5 billion of foreign aid. The bottom line is that it takes policies to create jobs. It takes a laissez-faire attitude that government gets out of the way of private industry. Government gets out of the way of you, the small business creator, the individual, and that you use your wealth to create more wealth. Wealth is not the problem. It is those individuals that like to steal, kill, and destroy your wealth that's the problem.
Okay, beautiful. Leslie, we're going to bring her in. Everybody hold your seat now.
Well, in terms of what you're saying, that Biden has been in government for 47 years, what you're trying to say is that he's a career politician, and as a result of him being a career politician, nothing under his leadership, being in the Senate, being a mayor, having his political career, have we seen any improvement or progress? Well, I have to push back on that.
Go ahead.
Because, and I'll tell you why. When you get into this arena of politics, and I can tell you by personal experience, you're one person dealing with both sides of the aisle. You have other people, and you have to get through other things to be able to pass any substantial legislation. And it doesn't all fall on one person to make these changes.
No, but
in
what
Congress.
you vote on is,
Right?
Leslie.
But your vote. Remember that you also have to vote your district. You have to vote. You have to look at your voting pattern and see what your constituency want. Because these are the people that give you the power, and these are the people that put you into office. What did Donald Trump do in his rhetoric when he was campaigning? He catered to a specific population, 46% of that population, that like what he says, continue to like what he says, and because it caters to that specific population. Every politician does that. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat, they do that for purposes of gaining support and to getting reelected. So if we're talking about him being a career politician in 47 years, yes, he has taken some hard stance vote. Yes, he's going to be criticized for the criminal justice reform bill that was done in 1994 under Bill Clinton, where he's being criticized for taking that vote. But he has evolved as a politician since that time.
He's evolved, Leslie.
Hold on, and you do evolve. Sometimes you take votes. Hold on.
Let her finish.
Sometimes you do take votes. As a politician myself and as a state rep that I was, sometimes you have to take some votes that are not going to be popular with people. And you have to take those votes because you have to make a decision you have to make a moral decision versus a political decision. And that is a fact. You're stuck sometimes in a quagmire. But what I'm telling you is, as a politician and the longer you're in that arena, you evolve in your thinking and in your political views. And sometimes either you become progressively to the left, or you become progressively to the right, or you stay in the middle. With Trump, and I can tell you, he has evolved progressively to the right because that's the population that he is catering to.
Biden has progressed, okay?
I think, in my estimation, if you look at Biden, he is a moderate Democrat.
He ain't no moderate Democrat.
He's a moderate.
How do you figure?
He's a moderate. Let me tell you.
No, wait. I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
I'm gonna tell you this. My experience, if this guy gets elected into office, he is going to lead this country in the middle.
He's going to sleep.
What?
And Camaro is
Wait.
going to lead the country.
Oh my
he's not.
Go
God.
ahead, Ken. You're up for 5.
he's
I'm gonna
not.
give you
No, he's
4
not.
minutes,
No,
Ken.
he's
Go
not.
ahead.
He's a moderate
Go
guy.
ahead. He's moderate. He's
Democrat.
moderate. Okay.
As moderate
You're
Tales from the
moderate.
Crypt is.
Go ahead, Ken.
Listen, I don't even need 5 minutes because I can tell you earnestly the evolution standard of Joe Biden. Last year in debate with his fellow Marxists on the stage, he said, I am against fracking, and I don't care how many jobs, 1.5 million jobs will be lost across the country. I'm against fracking.
I'm against
The other
fracking
day-
too.
The other day, he evolved and said, I'm not against fracking. I'm for fracking. See, I can't make my budget built on the evolution of a Democrat Marxist. I need the profound strength and foundational beliefs of a core conservative who believes in lower taxes, less regulation, more money in your pocket, better spending by you and not the government. I believe that there should be freedom of choice and liberty in the spirit of those individuals that want to go to church. I don't need a Democrat government telling me I can't worship God. So this is what I say to those who are listening today. You have heard the Democrat Marxists on the air tell you that Joe Biden will eventually evolve into who you want him to be. He has already evolved into being a Bernie Sanders Marxist.
That's not
If
true.
you're waiting,
That's not
if you're
true.
waiting,
He will never evolve to a Bernie Sanders.
No, just Marxist in the purest sense.
He's a Democrat Marxist. And quite frankly, if you're waiting for him to evolve into someone that's going to create jobs.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Well, let's-
Ken,
let's-
if
all right,
he
Ken, we got
if he's a
that.
Marxist, as you saying, and he's going to evolve to that, then we have to say that Donald Trump cozy up to communists. Look into the look. He admires people that have a stronghold. Let's give an example as Putin. He admires that. He likes that kind of authoritarian type of government. Okay,
Admiring and adopting policies and beliefs.
He can't adopt it. Why? Because there's a power of balance here in the United States, and he will never be able to.
Adopting and admiring is two separate things.
If he
As
can,
president,
he will.
he did not adopt it. He did not exhibit that in any way.
If he can, he will.
No.
But he can't because there's a power of balance here in the United States that they will never allow
President
that to
Trump
happen.
understands the ideas and the principles of this country being a nation-state builder.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Here's one of the things that I want everybody to think about when you're off of my hour and you're one of the listeners. I want you to think about the wave at a baseball game. That's all I want you to think about. Think about the most famous person you could think about waving at a baseball game, sitting next to a communist leader. And I'm not going to mention names because I'll let you guys all Google it. Okay? I'm going to let it alone there. Let's get back to creating jobs here and making sure that we never, if a pandemic hit us again or a crisis hits us again, what do you people think it's going to take? Not politically, what do you think we got to do state by state? Leslie, you're a tremendous woman, one of the smartest females I know. Okay? What do you think we have to do to make sure that we start producing our stuff as far as medication, medical supplies, necessities, things of that nature, and start creating things here?
Well, let me just say this. Our economy right now, we got 16 million people unemployed as a result of the pandemic. Here in the city of Philadelphia,
that Trump made in his bathroom,
I don't.
right?
Listen, I'm not gonna. What I'm gonna say is it has been affected. Okay. The pandemic has affected people being not employed currently. Here in the city of Philadelphia, we have to do a better job of creating a better economy to give people a sustainable wage. And I'll give you an example of the district that I represented when I was in office. I was in a district where poverty levels were up probably 47% or in the district. Unemployment rate was at 10%. So you have to be able to bring resources into the community and fight for those resources, whether it's through economic development, whether it's expanding services in the medical field, in the healthcare industry field. Be able to create jobs by also giving people that bring jobs to to the city of Philadelphia, giving them incentives to do that by giving them some tax breaks, if you will, giving them incentives that gives them a reason to invest here in the city of Philadelphia, so that they can give people employment here. Now that takes a combination of many things. For instance, let me just give you an example.
Well, let's
talk
hurry
about,
up because I want to give the other guys a couple minutes
and
each.
we got to go because we only got a minute. But this conversation, we have to pick this up because I have to. There is not enough in 1 minute to explain. But what I'm going to say,
Go ahead.
What I'm going to say is, and I'll cut this short. We have to be able to create jobs here through economic development. That's the only way we're going to do this, and we have to do it right in order to see sustainable wages for people that live here in the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, Pastor, 1 minute.
A lot of that I totally agree with, but I would have to say that we have to remember this country was founded on nation-state building principles. The idea of Hamiltonian economics, not this Marxist ideas that they're pushing and the rhetoric that has been pushed for a long time. under the Obama administration and under the Bush administration, on both sides, we did a lot of outsourcing, a lot of destroying of national products and national production in this country. We have to go back.
Okay.
We have to scale things back to those ideas.
Quickly, Ken, 1 minute.
I just want to, very quickly, first and foremost, I want to thank the mayor of Philadelphia for visiting Maryland so that he could eat inside an indoor restaurant.
So, you know what? He was hungry, and he wanted to go somewhere where he could relax without having to worry about lifting his mask to eat or have a drink. Come on.
Yeah, of course. No, but this is the problem when you listen to Democrats, because they tell you that you need a tax break, but they're not for lower taxes. They tell you that they want to create jobs, but they want to create jobs in China and not here in the U.S. They tell you that they want your kids to have a good education, but it can only be an indoctrination center called public school. It can't be a charter school or a private school.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the difference is very simple. It's not just about creating jobs. It's about creating a better way of living. And quite frankly, a living wage doesn't create a better way of living. It creates unemployment. You need lower taxes. You need someone who's going to fight for you, someone who's going to protect you from all the Democrat clusters who get upset because
Fair
they don't
enough.
win an election. They want to burn down the neighborhood.
Fair enough. I want to now thank everybody who came here today, and I know it was a heated conversation, and maybe we could have another three-way heated conversation after the election, and everybody could enjoy Trump's victory. But let's. I want to thank Leslie. You know,
Thank
I love you. You're a great person, Pastor Phil. You know, sometimes I gotta agree with you on some things. I gotta admit that. And Ken, I gotta tell you, it's always a pleasure being with you on the radio. And I want to thank all of you. So I want to thank the public, and I want to tell you guys, voting is important. You got to get out to vote. Go to your voting polls.
Yes.
Use your right to go to the voting polls. Make sure your vote counts. Don't vote as a party. It's November. Look at the individuals, see which one you like best, and make sure you push that button.
That's it.
God bless you all. We good?